Hello.
Hi.
The More of the pretenders are gone. The wild card round is over.
Womp womp.
We got the divisional round, so
Hmm.
the Chiefs and Lions don't get to just sit on the couch anymore. Uh, Mixed results on the. I guess we filled out our brackets, our
Yeah.
playoff brackets. I was the only one to give out a pick, and it did not. It was not successful. That was I had the Packers plus 4.5. And I feel like this is a common theme. Like when you fumble the opening kickoff and
Hmm.
give the other team the ball at the 20 or whatever it was, or 25, you usually don't fare too well. And did you see that play?
Mm-mm.
So he fumbles it, and then there's a scrum, and they give it to Philly, and then they review it. And on the review, you can see the Packers guy had it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if they deemed that it was still moving and like he didn't quite have it, but
Hmm.
you can see like his hands are on it.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing. It was like the weirdest stands call ever because you could literally see you saw him with the I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was the same ref that you remember when they had the whole Dan Skipper
Oh,
eligible
yeah.
thing? It was
Hmm.
Brad Allen. It was the same
Uh,
guy who screwed that up. So I don't know.
why is he coaching or reffing in the playoffs?
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. I didn't expect to see him out there, but
Mistakes were made.
everyone deserves a second
I
chance.
guess so.
So and then the Packers battled like they're down nine
Mm.
and had the ball and were driving and like it felt like there was still a chance, but obviously they end up losing by like
Hmm.
12 or I don't remember what it was, but
Yeah.
and like everyone was getting hurt. Jaden Reed got hurt, Dobbs got hurt. I think one of their other skill players I think got hurt too.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, not our season
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's fine,
Yeah. It
if you're a
happens.
Vikings and Bears fan, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay, so then our brackets
Mm.
real quick. So we both got the Chargers wrong.
And the Chiefs and the Lions too. Let's not sell ourselves short. We got those right
Oh
also.
yeah, yeah.
Look at
They
that.
they did not lose.
No, they made it. They made it through.
Uh and then or we both, let's see, what did we have here? Yeah, we
We
both
both like
thought
the Chargers.
yeah, we both got the Chargers wrong. We both thought the Bucks would beat the Commanders, and they
Yeah,
did
no.
not.
Mm-mm.
And then I thought the Packers might beat the Eagles. They did not. And you thought the Vikings might beat the Rams. They didn't even have like 11 guys on the field most of the time, it seemed
Weird.
like.
Weird.
So that's all right. We'll
Mm.
re-bracket this week and see how well we do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every game was a blowout last week
not
except
great
the
football.
Commanders Bucks is just
Great game.
bad. It's like
A lot of fun.
can we maybe I don't I guess I don't know if seeding it differently would help that or not, but you just look at some teams that almost made it that were playing well towards the end of the year that would have put up a fight in against
Mm.
most of these teams, and it's just you kind of wish that you
Yeah,
could have had some of those matchups, but
I don't. It's just something like the Packers. People loved the Packers this year, and I'm not sure. I mean, clearly they were a decent team, but they had the same divisional record as the Bears did. They went 1-5 in the division.
that's pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean it's the best division and you beat a team.
Well, right, but then I don't. I mean, you beat the Bears, and then you lost to them. I'm not sure how good they actually ended up. They were this year. Maybe that some of that was a bit of a smokescreen, and the idea that they would come in and make some noise in the playoffs. So I think, yeah, to your point, maybe there were some teams that were left out that could have had done more damage, or at least been a little more interesting to watch because there were some bummer games this week. I mean, that Steelers game. PU, stinky
Yeah, that
PU.
was bad. I mean, the Vikings was worse. They never had a pulse. It was terrible.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, and that was 2 weeks in a row, so that's a little strange. But I guess the question of what do you do with Sam Darnold has been answered. Nothing.
Yeah, well,
I
at
mean,
least they
not your problem.
they probably don't like well, he's not going to get as much in free agency if that's what he decides to do.
Yeah,
And you'd think the Vikings could keep him at a lower cost if they want to
yeah.
have a quarterback battle between him and
McCarthy. Yeah.
McCarthy. So, um, Yeah.
That'll be interesting. Like, I mean, he got injured so early that we have no sense of him, right? Like Bo Nix has come on, and obviously Jaden Daniels is the truth. God, he looks good. He throws that deep ball, man, and it is just so perfect and so accurate. And you
Yeah.
go, what did people see in Caleb Williams? Like, what was he doing in college that everybody's like, oh, that's the guy. That's the consensus number one. Because he doesn't look anything like Jaden Daniels on the field. Just like nothing.
Yeah. I agree with that. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, so I saw a stat that the Commanders have had 3 games this year where they haven't punted and they haven't turned it over. And there's been so Jaden Daniels has done that 3 times, you
Mm.
could say. And then they listed like the best 4 quarterbacks of the last 30 years. Like it was like Manning, Brady, I forget who
Mm.
else, but it only ever happened like once or twice with all of those guys as quarterback. So it's just kind of a crazy stat. I don't know what it really means. I mean, I guess it means your coach goes for it on fourth down a lot, um, and you control the ball a lot, and you just don't have to punt. I guess I don't know, but that's just a weird stat. Like, how do you not punt and not turn the ball over for an entire game 3 times in a season? It's just kind of a crazy stat.
Yeah.
And like
Well-coached
and not
team.
you think you'd blow out teams if that's a stat too, but like what did they end up winning by 3 against the Bucks?
Yes, it was a close game. It was back and forth, right down to the wire, pretty much. Like they were trading blows, and I mean, either team could have won that game, but I mean, Daniels just looked so good,
Yeah,
so good. He looked inevitable.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was thinking if there's any team, any underdog team that can go to Detroit and kind of have a matchup, like a decent matchup against the Lions, maybe it is the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, with their
Um,
defense in the state that it's in, like,
yeah, I mean, like if you look at what the Lions did against the Vikings in their last game, they blitzed zero blitz, right? Like
mm-hmm.
14 times or something like that. You can't really do that against Daniels because, like, if he gets loose and runs,
Yeah,
I don't know how he's been against the blitz passing. I think his numbers have been decent, but that's not to say the Lions won't have a good game plan no matter who they're playing, sort of a thing. But
yep.
I don't know what did McVay say? I mean, it didn't work, or not McVay. What did Peyton say? He's like young and fiery or something is dangerous. So he
Mm-hmm.
said something like that. Well, it didn't work out for the Broncos, but maybe it'll work out for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders.
Maybe this is a team that won 12 games in the regular season. And I think a lot of people were writing them off. I think I didn't. I thought the Bucks would win, and it was a close game. But I feel like his type of play. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but the way that he plays and how dynamic he is and how unpredictable that dynamism lets him be, I feel that's really dangerous for Detroit right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like they're going to be able to move the ball and score
That's right.
points.
That's
But
right.
can they get enough stops against the Lions is obviously the
Well, there it is.
the big thing. But
So
we'll see.
50 to 51,
Could be.
maybe. All right.
All right. Well, the other thing to watch is with Daniels runs so much and he doesn't really go down on his own much. And the Lions play so physical. It'd be interesting to see if he can hold up and finish the game.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the divisional
Oh, I'm gonna blitz
round.
this week.
All right. So I don't know if these games, I forget who plays when. Well, I guess we have it right here. The first game, it looks like on, what is that? Saturday, right?
Yes,
Two
the
Saturday, two Sunday.
three, yeah, 3:30 or something like that.
3:30 Saturday. We got the
Yeah.
Texans at the Chiefs.
Mm.
I said the Chiefs by 7.
I got the Chiefs by 5. You're way closer. 8.5. These lines are enormous, and I'm not sure I agree with them.
Yeah, so
Really high.
I get that one. Josh won the week last week. Hopefully I can get one this week. But
Yeah.
so outside of last week, the Texans have looked like not even a playoff team for the past, like, I don't know, 2
Yeah.
months. But the Chiefs haven't really blown anyone out either. So
No. I mean, they're scoring like less than 20 points a game almost. It's crazy, this line.
yeah. So um, I don't know. I guess if it was the regular season, I probably would have gone. Actually, I would have gone higher. I thought maybe playoff game. It's just like
That's what I
things
was
are
thinking as well.
magnified, and like maybe it's just a smaller line. But yeah, I mean, with how bad the Texans had played up until last week, I mean, yeah, they blew out the Chargers, kind of a weird game. Um, and with the Chiefs like beating everyone, granted, they're not really blowing teams out. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Plus, I don't know. I have this theory that the Chiefs keep it pretty vanilla in the regular season unless they really need to pull out all the stops to make the playoffs.
Vegas.
And so you get some of that, and like I don't know, you got still a young quarterback on the road at Kansas City against one of the most well coached, probably the best quarterback in the league. I don't know,
Yeah.
like
But the Chiefs have never scored. They didn't score more than 30 all year, and they only scored 30 twice. And this was a year that had a lot of explosive offensive scoring. You had teams, routinely scoring in the 40s. I think there were a few times that we hit 50 this year. And so, not saying that I think the Texans are going to win, but the spread is a little silly given what the Chiefs have done. And maybe they're holding stuff back, I guess, just to be more mysterious in the playoffs and maybe have an easier time of it. But I don't know. This seems like a really high line for me.
yeah, I don't know what to think about it. I mean, I don't know. I guess because it is high, maybe I trust the Chiefs to blow them out, but I don't know.
Mm.
I wouldn't be like there's always not always a lot of times there's a team that like last week you heard us talk about the Texans like they kind of have no business really being in the playoffs. There's always a team like that no one believes in or people give up on and it kind of creates some motivation and then they make a little bit of a run. Again, I don't think they're going to beat the Chiefs here, but it wouldn't be I mean, you get Stroud from his prime last year when he was like beating everyone,
Mhm.
and you just kind of inject that and see what happens. I mean, they picked off Herbert 4 times. Like, did the defense figure something out? I don't know.
It's a bad game for him. But that was just a bad game for the Chargers. I mean, they just didn't show. Everybody loved the Chargers in that game, or a lot of people, and they just fell flat. Just a really sort of a not a great debut for Harbaugh in the playoffs with this team.
But yeah, and it's just such a weird game. They got ahead. They drove down 2 or 3 times, settled for field goals right away.
Yes, that's right.
And
That's
then there
right.
was like a couple turnovers, and they still, I think they were still ahead like they were ahead 6-3 with like
Yeah.
2 minutes left in the first half, and then the Texans had that crazy fumble play where they never should have converted,
Hmm.
fumbled, and then the Chargers were like, "Oh, he fumbled." He's like scrambling, like they lost their guys in coverage, and he hit.
Yeah.
Was it Collins for like 40 yards over the middle? And that completely changed the
That.
game. And there's also that same drive. So they had been pinned at like the 1 or 2.
Hmm.
Stroud took a snap and he tried to get outside the tackle box and he just threw it to absolutely no one. And he was like right on the hash. And it
Yeah.
was one of those questionable, like, did he get outside the tackle box? So that would have been a safety. I think it would have been 8-0 and the Chargers
Hmm.
getting the ball with like 3-4 minutes left. So like it's crazy how things can change so quickly if you start making mistakes. But I mean, 4 interceptions out of Herbert, like that just can't happen. Um,
Uncharacteristic. It was just a yeah, and they Chargers had turnovers too, right? There was they had some opportunities. I think one of the mistakes that most coaches make now, especially now, is the idea that you can somehow settle for field goals and not score touchdowns. I just with teams with great quarterbacks, you can't do that. You have to go for touchdowns. You can't just go every time, well, I'm going to give up and kick a field goal because 6 is more than 3. And
yeah,
go for that more often than not, I think.
I kind of go back and forth on that. I mean, if you're gonna start turning the ball over and giving up chunk play, like you're gonna lose no matter what.
Yep. Yep.
And like the Chargers are the type of team who maybe can settle for field goals because like
That's what
just the
they
way
want
they
to do.
play.
Yeah, they want to grind you to a halt and keep scoring low and There's no question. But
Right. But then, then if you do get a break to go your way, then you can blow the game open a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. There's a reason why so many coaches and teams go for it on fourth down
yeah,
all the time. Um,
like don't do that against Mahomes, right? Like I think that's been a critical mistake that teams have done against Mahomes in the past, especially in the playoffs, is let's just take a field goal here. And it's like, no, don't take a field goal because they're going to put up touchdowns.
yeah.
And that you can't compete in that way with that kind of dynamic.
Yeah, if Mahomes has the ball down by six or less in late in the fourth quarter, it's usually pretty tough to stop him.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I
very
don't know.
tough.
Go for it early and hope you can get a
That's right.
big lead and make them press a little bit.
That's
But
right. That's what how I would do it. But
all this talking and I don't think either one of us has
never coached a
a
game in my life.
pick on what we think is going to happen in the Chiefs game.
Oh,
I absolutely think the Chiefs will win. I just don't know.
yes. I mean, I'll take the Texans here. I think they're going to cover. I would take the Texans for, and I don't think they're going to win, but this game's going to be closer than 8.5 for sure. Give me
Going
3 stars on that.
on here.
Yeah,
Okay.
3. I'm going to ban it.
All right.
Boom. Smash that like button.
So then Saturday night,
Oh yeah.
7 o'clock Central Time, we got the Commanders at the
Oh
Lions.
man,
I said Lions by 7,
I went Lions by 2.5, and I am way wrong.
and it is
9.5.
open at 8.5. It's up to 9.
9.5. I also think this is a terrible line. I mean, the Lions are good, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure these teams didn't play in the regular season. The Lions seem like they can blow out pretty much anyone. Now they got a little rest. I don't know what the latest is on whether Montgomery and or Hutchinson will be able to play,
yeah.
This week or the rest of the playoffs. Maybe that's something to look up. Montgomery
I thought
injury
Montgomery was gonna play. I thought, yeah.
Montgomery returned to practice, and he's on track to play. Okay, that's huge because
Yep.
I think it was last week, you can't just ride Gibbs every week and have him
That's good,
take
though.
every touch out of the backfield. Like,
No.
I think, I don't know if he's going to hold up. I mean, he's young, but just not used to that. He's not
Really
Frank
good, too.
Gore, right?
I played for like 20 years.
Aiden Hutchinson injury, and he was never supposed to be back before
No.
maybe like the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Montgomery looks like it's going to play, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd be back that quick. Anyway, so you went 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was me making decisions based on headlines, which is Detroit's defense. They're injured. I think the way that they were able to get up against the Vikings, after see what the Vikings did this past week, maybe that was more about the Vikings than it was the Lions and the talent on the field. I think for me, what I'm looking at is you can scheme up your second tier talent to be effective against
In the short term.
yes, and a team a team that is led by somebody as athletically gifted as Sam Darnold. I just don't think that that's the same can be said of somebody who is at the athletic tier that Jaden Daniels is, and I think to me that's what I was looking at. And again, without getting into the details of how decimated that Detroit defense is, I just think they're vulnerable to what Jaden Daniels can do, which is he can put the ball downfield with accuracy, seemingly anytime he wants, and then he's mobile, and he can be accurate on the move. And when you're putting your B tier guys who aren't as quick and aren't as strong and aren't as fast as your first, to me that was what led me here. Clearly, everyone else thinks I'm wrong, but I also take I don't know who's going to win this game, but I absolutely think Washington will cover 9.5. I'll take Washington, another 3 stars. I'm just going all 3 bangers. Yep, Washington to cover. I don't know who's going to win, but
Yeah,
definitely to cover.
I have to think about that a little more. I mean, it certainly seems like a lot. Washington already won a road playoff game. Granted, the Bucks kind of gave it away with Baker not being able to hand the ball off on a jet sweep. That completely changed that game.
Yeah.
But I mean, Washington won on the road with a rookie quarterback in the playoffs against a team that won a playoff game last year. Like,
Hmm.
that, I mean, Detroit's probably a little different atmosphere. It's going to be louder and a little bit tougher to play there, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I feel like you give like a guy like Dan Quinn seems like he really thinks about, um, like more than the X's and O's and like tries to like I think he's going to scheme up some ways to try to stop
Yeah.
some of what Detroit does, especially with just their like going forward on fourth down and different things like that. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting matchup.
It's gonna be a great game, I
I
hope.
want to say Washington. I just don't know. The Lions are so explosive.
They
Like they can
are.
blow you out.
They can, but this could be 40-37. Like
Yeah,
I feel, or even 41-35, and this still gets covered.
yeah, it just really doesn't feel like
Like 45-36, and this gets covered.
I can't imagine a scenario where Detroit holds Washington to like fewer than 25
I
points.
agree. I just don't. And now whether
Um,
Washington can hold Detroit to like 30 some, I don't know. The offense has looked so good. Jared Goff has looked, I mean, he's at the peak of his career. I mean, you look back 30 years, I'd be shocked if you didn't say this was it for him, right? In terms of how well he played at quarterback. So yeah, I mean, I think Detroit will probably score 40 points, but I think the Washington will probably be right there with them.
so over under is 55 and a half. So if you kind of meld the over under with the
You know,
spread, it would be like what 33. What would 33-24 be? 57. So it'd be like 32-23 or 33-24. I don't know if I said that
I
exactly
don't know,
right,
but I
but
would take the over here too.
yeah. Yeah, so that's what you got. I don't know. It's higher than I thought.
It's huge.
I want to think the Commanders can cover, but I'm not gonna
Yeah,
not
it's
gonna
huge.
go there.
Yeah.
All right, we got two left. So the next one is actually I got these in the wrong order on here. Not that it really matters, but the next one's the Rams at the Eagles. I said Eagles by six,
And then the Eagles giving 4.
and it is
6 up from
opened at
5.
5 and went to 6. All right, so I'm right on the nut on that
Hmm.
one. This I don't know. For me, when I was guessing this, the Rams are playing well enough where I didn't think it should be a touchdown, but the Eagles are clearly the better team. They already blew out the Rams once
Hmm.
this year, so I went. I'll call it the full six. Like I've said before, it's like even if this game's close and somehow like goes to overtime, like the Eagles could still get to six with an overtime touchdown. So like that number for me is just kind of a
Hmm.
key number sometimes when I'm guessing these, and that's what it is. So I don't know. Can the Rams already got blown up by the Eagles? Like, is it a matchup issue? Can
Was that
they?
during all their injuries though?
I want to say they were not injured in that game.
I went in the season.
Because
That
I
can't
think I
happen.
picked them, and I don't think I would have picked them if they weren't healthy. Um, yeah, interesting game though. I like
Yeah, it was right around Thanksgiving, so they were relatively healthy, the Rams.
McVay and Stafford in the playoffs. This is another one that I don't know. It just maybe I don't really like the Eagles, and I do kind of like the Rams as a team, so maybe that's a little biased for me. But I think in a playoff game, like it should be a close game, but we'll see. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like what the Rams did to the Vikings. They blitzed Darnold again a lot, and he wasn't. He got sacked 100 times.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that as much, obviously, against Hurts because he just gets away from it. So maybe it's I don't know. Maybe that's why the Eagles are favored by six. Like you can't like it's just a harder quarterback to game plan for. But I don't know. To me, this one should be a good game, and I'm obviously pulling for the Rams. I just don't wanna see the Eagles do well for some reason.
There's kind of an obnoxiousness about the Eagles. I think Sirianni is apparently as good a coach as he is kind of a douche. Like you're the coach and you're yelling at fans. I know this has been covered pretty extensively. This happened early in the year when there were some doubts about what they were doing over there, but it's like shut your mouth. Just coach. And you're supposed to be the example, right? Like, and supposed to be the leader, and you're run your mouth at like it's just dumb. And look, Philly fans are kind of garbage.
Yeah.
If you saw what that guy did to the Packers, the lady in the Packers jersey this week or last week.
Oh, I mean that's like
Yeah,
every home game for them. It's just like
nasty stuff.
brutally like it's like
Yeah.
assault constantly. And I
Yeah.
don't know if they
Gross.
get in trouble for it or not,
This
but
guy, I guess they found him and he was banned. I guess Big Dom stepped in and
oh yeah.
banned the guy and this couple some Packers gear, which is nice. But yeah, so I don't know. I just there's a lot to dislike about Philly. There's no question. I think it's not a team that you want to root for. I think they're going to win this game. This line at least seems somewhat reasonable to me. And the Rams have had kind of an up and down season, and the Eagles kind of seem like juggernaut. Like I can't think of a team that has been talked about less with a record of like 14-3, and a team that at the start of the season everybody's like, so when are they firing the coach? Like that was like realistic dialogue we were having at like week 5 of the season. So I don't know. I do like the Eagles here. I don't know that the Rams will cover this or not.
Yeah. No opinion by this guy either. Okay, we got one left.
Yeah,
Kind of clearly the matchup of the week.
So good.
Ravens at the Bills, and this is a rematch. We'll talk
Yep.
about that a little bit.
That's right.
I said Ravens by 1.
And I had Bills by 1. And I think it's Ravens 1. It started, I think, Bills by 1, Bills by 2, and then it went Baltimore 1. Yeah.
Oh, so Bills by 2, and it jumped to Ravens by 1. Some places have it up to 1.5. So
Yeah.
I get that one. I got the sweep this week. Okay, so this is a very interesting game. So it's a rematch, like I said, of like week 4, 5, something like that. So this was when the Ravens were kind of struggling early in the year, and I think it was a home game for the Ravens. And I remember saying like this is a bad spot for the Bills. Like the Ravens really need it. They're at home. It's just not going to be a good game for the Bills.
Slaughtered. Yeah.
And the Ravens beat them. What was
35-10.
35-10.
Week 4.
So the storyline here, I guess, is do the Bills get redemption? Now it's a home game for them. Do they get redemption, or is it just a bad matchup for the Bills? And I've said this 100 times this season that the Bills do not stop the run very well, and the best running back probably maybe in the league right now is Derrick Henry, and he's on the other team. So
could you argue that the best running back is actually Josh Allen?
If he takes as many hits as Henry throughout the season and doesn't get hurt, yes. Then
fair enough. That's fair. That's fair.
But what's crazy is this isn't supposed to affect MVP, but these are basically the front runners for MVP. It's Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Now, I think I'm going to end up picking the Ravens, but it's such a polarizing thing for me. Like, if this game is close, I kind of sort of expect Allen to pull it out and Jackson the monkey to just stay on Jackson's back, right? Like, he can't win these playoff games when he needs to. Matchup wise, like, and coaching wise, like, if the Ravens, I mean, you can't be too conservative, but like the Ravens absolutely need to run the ball and try to control and just keep Allen off the field at least early. And Lamar Jackson can't be throwing 2 picks in the first half.
And they have to stay away from the penalties because that's been the Ravens' bugaboo all season. They were at one time the most penalized team in the league.
Right.
And which is again odd when you think about John Harbaugh. You think about discipline, right? And preparedness and professionalism and just oddly absent throughout their season, which led to some really weird losses, and they had some really weird losses, the Ravens. And it's like, I think I'm less forgiving of the Ravens for those than a team like the Bills, which also had some kind of weird losses. I mean, Josh Allen had 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns in a game that they lost. like in a career-making game, they lost to the Rams. Um, you sort of just go, oh, that's the Bills, but the Ravens were great last year and they kind of were weird this year. I think I like the Ravens here too. But I don't know. I just hope it's a really good game.
Yeah, and I like every time I say like I want to pick the Ravens, then you just think about the Bills at home and
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seems like Allen's going to be maybe a little more clutch than Jackson, but like who's if you ask the experts who's the most complete team over the last 6 weeks, a lot of them probably are going to tell you the Ravens.
Yeah.
And they just are. Like their defense has been great. Like number one according to some metrics the last 6 weeks. I could be off a couple weeks on that, but so you put it all together and like Jackson's dynamic, Henry's an absolute beast. Your defense is the best in the league. Like matchup wise, I mean, I get why it's Ravens, but if this is close, I don't know. I don't know what I expect to happen.
I mean, and the Ravens having the best statistical defense is against the Giants, the Steelers, now the Texans. It killed the Texans, so that is something. And then the Browns, and then the Steelers again last week, which I think the Steelers were like the ghost of an NFL team the last like half of the season. So I don't know. This is not the Ravens team from last year, which was the number one seed and looked very dominant throughout the regular season. This is a Ravens team that wasn't all that dominant for stretches, and again had some weird losses. Um, I can't pick this game. I don't know. I think I do want the Bills to win just because I think Allen's season has been magical. But gosh, Lamar Jackson's had magical seasons too. So
Right. So I'm gonna go Ravens two
yeah,
stars, but usually the Ravens and Bills don't match up with each other, and then they both lose.
yeah,
Like
that's right. Weird playoff games early.
they like
Yes.
lose to the Chiefs or they
Yeah.
lose whatever. So
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get one of them in the conference championship
Yeah.
game this year,
That's
which
cool.
yeah.
So do you have um which team do you think matches up better against the Chiefs? Or I guess not, let's save the Texans, but which one do you think matches better than to the Chiefs? Bills or Ravens?
Ravens, just because they're a more complete team. Like I just think they're a more complete team.
Yeah.
Like the more holes you have, like
Yeah.
I know again, I've said this 1,000 times, but like the Bills just really don't stop the run very well.
Yeah.
Like the more holes you have, the more like
Yeah.
Bills not stopping the run against the Chiefs. The Chiefs can um, play a little more ball control, just kind of keep the ball out of Allen's hands. Plus, like it's a redemption game for the Chiefs because they
Mhm.
lost in Buffalo and now they would get them at Arrowhead. I just think it would be tough to go in there and win that. Yeah, and Chiefs in the playoffs, tough to beat.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the Ravens just because they're a more complete team and you can't really, um, you know, expose them as much, I guess. But that's just like
Yeah.
my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the Bills feel a little lopsided in terms of what makes them good, right? And you go, what makes them good? Well, Josh Allen. And after that, what do you list? And I feel like it's harder to say. Whereas the Ravens, you go, oh yeah, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, good coach. I just and I like the idea of a Ravens team that could control the game with Derrick Henry, especially in the playoffs, just battering people, right? So I think that is probably the smart play here, the Ravens, given all of that. Um, but games can be won by just one dude, and Josh Allen is definitely that kind of dude,
Yeah,
especially this season.
I agree. But yeah, I mean, could be an instant
Yeah,
classic. I
yeah,
mean, everyone thinks that it's going to be a close
yeah.
game.
What's the weather?
Yeah,
Do we know?
exactly. I was just thinking that.
Is
Like,
there snow?
can
Is
we
it
get a
going to be
snow
super cold?
bowl?
Oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing? Oh, that would be so good. Playoff football in the snow. It's better than snow at Christmas almost. It's
Okay,
going to be 19, and there is the little snow icon. 19 degrees.
let's look it up here.
You look.
Weather.gov. The
Let's
the,
do
the
it.
bet they got the best forecasts.
That light snow.
I say that like my dad used to work for the National Weather Service. All right, Sunday night, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, early evening, 5:30.
So Sunday, cloudy, Sunday night,
6:30.
chance of snow 40%.
Yeah.
Not windy,
Cold
but
though.
let's see, Saturday, uh just a trace of snow basically. So
Yeah.
not a snow bowl. They're supposed to get 1 to 3 inches today. So there won't be snow all over the field. It won't be blustery, but should be a good game. Yeah. Okay,
Let's just do it.
let's re-bracket here.
Let's do.
So who you got? Texans, Chiefs.
I'm gonna go Chiefs here. Yeah, Chiefs.
Yeah. I'm not no suspense. Chiefs. If the Texans win this game, tip your hat, I guess.
I'll eat a pizza. I'm gonna do that anyway, but yeah, if they win, I'll definitely eat a pizza.
All right. The next, well, let's go. Let's stay in the AFC. Ravens, Bills.
Oh, I'm gonna go Ravens.
Did I talk you into it?
No, I mean I think they're the better team realistically, and I think they're. I don't think like here's the thing. Like if they lose this game, and they're probably not going to fire Sean McDermott, but at what point do you get to the well maybe the problem's the coach with the Bills, right? So Harbaugh has been there. He's been consistent. He's got a Super Bowl. He's got a ring. That's not Sean McDermott. So I don't know. Yeah, give me
I
the
don't.
Ravens here. Better coach.
I don't think the problem is anything with these good AFC teams. It's just
Yeah.
the problem is the Chiefs
Chiefs.
have too much.
Yeah.
They have probably the best coach and
Yeah.
probably the best quarterback and probably a top 5 defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, like,
Maybe
oh, you
even
guys
top
can't
two.
beat the Chiefs. You keep losing
Yeah.
by 3. Well, no shit. Everyone loses to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like, just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think, like firing a coach of a team that constantly makes it to the second round of the playoffs. I think people overreact, and you gotta. I mean, you gotta
They
find
do.
a way to beat them once in a while, but
They do.
it's just hard. It's just not easy to do.
No, it's true, but that's the reality of like the NFL, right? Like, and Sean McDermott, if he were to get canned by the Bills, right? I mean, he'd get another
Every team
job.
would
Yeah,
want.
there'd be he'd get another job that he'd walk right into one, right?
Except the Bears, they wouldn't want him.
No, actually, he would be the absolute type of coach that they would hire. Defensive minded. He's done it before. He's had actually. He would be. I wouldn't want him, but
Quick aside, since we got a little time, the Chicago radio guys are way more positive about McCarthy than I
oh my
ever
God,
thought could
they
be
are.
possible.
Honestly, it's. I wonder how much of that is just the Bears like PR staff going, no, talk nice about McCarthy. Talk nice about McCarthy. I just look if they hired him, like, would he be the worst choice? I don't know, but is he going to turn this team around? No, it's a terrible hire, but there's institutional rot, and like I Vrabel might have been the type of coach to come in there and hack it away and just bulldoze his way to success, but that's not McCarthy. So I don't know.
Yeah. And anyway, so let's go over to the NFC. Who you got? Rams, Eagles.
Eagles.
You got Eagles. I'm gonna go Rams.
Wow,
It's a
ballsy
pick. It's a heart
Ballsy
pick,
pick,
but
yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm going Los Rams, and then you're gonna go.
I'm gonna go Washington.
Washington over
Yeah,
the
I'm
Lions.
gonna pick Washington.
Should we do the double NFC? Go with your heart.
Oh yeah, man. Let's just do it. I love the Lions. This is great. It's heartbreaking if they lose, but I just something about Daniels. I just yeah, man. He feels
Yeah,
almost inevitable. Like I said, inevitable.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna. So obviously, I understand that this has a less than 50% chance of happening, the Washington actually beating them, but I
Yeah.
do think they can match up a little bit. I think
Yeah.
they can score on them.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like if it's a one possession game, is this another game where Campbell goes for it and doesn't get it? Like, is the same thing happen
Recklessness.
as
Yeah.
last year? I don't know, probably not, but I think there's a better chance than I don't know, than the Lions winning by 10.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's an amazing point. It's like I think that Washington has a better chance of winning the game outright than the Lions do of winning the game by double digits. To me, that makes a lot of sense. I will also say, if the Lions come in and that defense just knocks Washington out and does produce a scenario where the Lions can cover this, the top of my list for coaching candidates for the Bears is Aaron Glenn. Like that is, he would be like at the top for me over Ben Johnson. That kind of miracle working, the ability to control that unit that's had seen so many injuries and still get like top tier success. Give me that guy. Let that guy be the coach.
And make sure he has a good pick for offensive coordinator that he
That's
can
right.
bring with him.
Right. But and then again, if he's able to do that, then there's inherent trust that he understands enough about how systems work, about how footballs work, about how football works, what he believes he wants out of those things, and the ability to communicate that so that others understand it. Yeah, give me that guy.
All right, so I don't think I can pick Washington to win the game and not pick them to cover 9.5. So I'm gonna go 2 stars on Washington plus 9.5. And
Yeah.
the last minute, let's just pick this sort of a thing. Usually doesn't work out, but
Mm-mm.
it could this week,
It's just so much to cover. Yeah, too much to me, to my mind.
All right, what else do
Super
we
Bowl.
got? Only 4 games. Then we got next week, we'll have 2 games. Then we got a week off, and then it's Super
Do you
Bowl.
want to run this down to the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, we should. We did that last week. Might as
Yeah.
well. Chiefs Ravens,
Chiefs.
the chefs. Eagles
Eagles.
Washington.
Give me Eagles here.
Chiefs Ravens for me. I also am gonna say Chiefs. And then if it was Rams Washington, the Rams would host that.
They would. Oh, dude, Rams Chiefs would that's a hell of a
yeah,
game,
I would
man.
go Rams.
Oh man.
And then you'd have Chiefs Eagles.
I'm gonna take the Chiefs. Like I
Ooh, that would be
it's
a
an-
rematch.
yes, it would. An uninspired, like just like last year, Super Bowl. Yeah, give me the Chiefs in the rematch. Yeah.
And then I would have Chiefs Rams and yeah, I would have to go Chiefs. Like I just really don't think the Rams would come out
I
on top of
love that Super Bowl though, man. Like I love that Super Bowl. Rams Chiefs. No more retreads for the Chiefs to face. I don't know. I love that. Good picks.
that. What do you mean? Why do you like it so much?
I McVay and Andy Reid, like the two, unquestionably the two best offensive minds in the league right now, I think. And McVay, he doesn't have the hardware that Reid has, but he's so much younger. I mean, he achieved success. I think he's probably the best coach in the league right now, McVay. And then Reid's right there. So that's why I think that would be an incredible game.
And they both won one within the last
That's right.
4 years.
And
So,
McVay's been to 2 already. So yeah, dude, give me this matchup.
yeah.
Sign me up.
So we're both still saying the Chiefs will go through. We got a couple underdog picks that are kind of a
crazy.
stretch, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
How much fun is it to just pick all the favorites? It's not.
No, boring. Boo.
All right. Well, our teams are all officially out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
Your future looks bright
I
though.
don't know.
You got that good coach.
As far as like finding a coach and
Yeah.
signing people in free agency, I guess we could say go Bears, go Vikings.
Yeah.
But go Vikings.
Go Bears.